All right, good morning, everybody. So what I did was I took every single 5-minute video. Some are 5 minutes, some are 7 minutes, some are 3 minutes, and I put them into a playlist, which we're going to watch today. Everything about Trump. And, scrutiny has to withstand the test of time, doesn't it? And so I'm putting it all on the line here. I'm going to show you from start to finish how we covered Trump, going all the way back to a year before he even won the first election. Now, it's important to do this because a lot of truth channels will throw darts at a board. They don't really know because, they just don't know. And I'm not saying this is criticism. I'm just telling you that a lot of thought goes into what we work on here. Someone says the audio is cracking. Oh, boy, here we go again. Oh my gosh. Well, let's do this. I'm just going to go ahead and play this because, and we'll work on the audio in a minute here, I suppose. I can't wait to get the new computer and that will fix everything. Okay, let's go ahead and let's see. What should we do here? Sound is bad. Okay. Let's try this. Unbelievable. Okay. A couple things. It has nothing to do with the connection because we were fine yesterday, weren't we? Okay. Testing. How does it sound now, you guys? Let's try this. Just going to try a couple things before we start the stream over again. All right. Okay, how's that? Is that better? Yeah, something's hogging resources. And yesterday we identified what that was and deleted it. Let's try to look in the resources here. Sorry about this, you guys. Always something. I think that the computer is coming under attack is what I think is happening, but we will see here in a second. Better. Someone says better. Dabu had the same cracking sound issue. Wow. So yeah, something's going on, isn't it? Something's wrong. Let's do this. I'm going to close some of these windows here. That might help. And we'll see there. Still skipping. Okay, I closed a huge window that it might have been taking up some resources. So we'll try that. All right. How does that sound, you guys? Is that better? Sounds better for now. Sound is good now. Okay, I closed a website that was probably taking up a lot of resources. So it should be better now. Okay, let's get a couple more confirmations that the sound is good and we'll keep going here. Much better. Okay, good. So let's get started again. And again, I took all of the short videos from all the way back to 2016, and they were all about Trump. And I was just saying that, some true channels kind of shoot in the dark, so to speak. A lot of thought goes into these videos and the predictive programming. Okay. Once you understand the concept of how predictive programming works and that the enemy essentially controls everything, then you begin to understand how he is seeding in all of these concepts, things that have not happened yet, into media, into Hollywood, into commercials, into everything. That's how they might control people to accept the new agenda. This is why people believe that artificial intelligence is not necessarily bad, because they've been programmed to believe that. If they knew the truth, they would understand what was going on. Let's go ahead and just play through some of these videos, because once I play it, then we won't have this audio problem. So let's go ahead and get started here. Now, this first video is from 2016 January, and I searched all these videos up, these short format Trump videos, put them in this playlist, and you're going to see exactly how accurate we were about Trump's life, what he came to do. And I might skip some of these videos, but I'll call out the year. And anytime I interrupt myself to add commentary, I'll say we're back in 2025 so you can get your timeline bearings, because this is very important. Now, I think we hit it out of the park on this very first video from 2016, January. We found the 66 matrix. Now, 9 months after this video aired, Trump would win the first presidency. Then he would win the second presidency, both 58 years and 58 years after 1958 and 66 years after 1958. You're going to see this theme going through all these videos here, knowing that Trump would win the first presidency and the last presidency. Let's get started.
Hey guys, enter the stars, and the curse of 69 continues. With the Republican candidate Donald Trump, born on June 14th. He is 69 years old. Born on June 14th and in a leap year, which is a year like 2016. He was born on the 166th day of the year with 199 remaining. There's your 6 and your 9. Now, up to this point, we had only been focused on Hillary because she will be 69. And her birthday also meets this criteria of falling on, I believe it's the 199th day of the year with 66 left. Let's take a look at Hillary Clinton. She was born on October 26th. And that date is the 299th day of the year with 66 remaining. So here you see we're given the red, the black and the white, the red and the blue pills, and neither is the answer. Take care and be safe, you guys.
Now, this next video is called Trump the Wolf. And again, this was back in 2016. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, enter the stars. And if you had any doubts about the work that we do here on Enter the Stars about the wolf and Lupercalia, any doubts, then you need to watch this video and this story on Yahoo News. Now, it isn't as if I started seeing wolf type of references, after the fact. We've been talking about Lupercalia now for over a year. We made this discovery, and we showed you how the World Trade Center story has been all linked into this as well. And in this story, they're saying that Trump is like the wolf. Let's read through this. Once upon a time in a little town called Establishment Creek, where prosperity trickled down through a burbling stream, there lived 3 little pigs. Their names were Jeb, Chris, and Marco. One day a wolf came up their windy trail, followed by a very angry mob and a horde of TV cameras. The wolf cut quite a figure. He had orange fur and teeth whiter than Bernie Sanders' caucus. The wolf, who was a builder and a businessman by trade, hadn't actually incited the mob, and he wasn't especially angry about anything himself. He had little to be angry about, since he was rich and famous. Now, this isn't the first time we had a wolf reference. Justice Scalia, which has the name
Lupercalia in his very name, died on Lupercalia, and he called himself the wolf as well. He is quoted as saying, "I come as a wolf." So now what was seen as crazy isn't sounding so crazy. But there was an emptiness in the poor wolfish soul, a sense that if the townspeople weren't constantly talking about him, he might just disappear. And it occurred to the wolf that if you were looking for new ways to be loved and admired, being at the head of an angry mob wasn't the worst place you could be. And so it was that he came upon the first house, an old and tasteful mansion with lots of ivy growing all around. This was Jeb's house. The wolf recoiled. "This house is just horrible," the wolf said when Jeb came to the door. "It's total low energy." So this goes on and on and on. First of all, the bizarre nature of such a news story. Sheer desperation. The storyline. I've never seen a mainstream news story like this during a presidential election. Simply bizarre. So there you go, you guys. People can continue to bury their head in the sand, say that YouTube is not news, say that people are crazy, say that we're making all this up, say that it's all just coincidence. But at a certain point, we need to open our eyes, okay?
So this was back in 2016, and of course, the rest is history. Marco Rubio would go on to be in Trump's cabinet. Let's close this window too. Now, tomorrow we'll be back between the headlines with some insight into some of what's going on in the mainstream news. But let's continue on with this and go to the next video in 2016. Hillary and Trump's shared cousin had a fake cough. Now remember, this was 3 or 4 years before COVID. We were talking about a fake cough and a shared cousin by Trump and Hillary in 2016.
Enter the stars, and I've got some questions. Why are the two presidential candidates of the United States related to a man named John of Gaunt, 19th cousins? And why is this man, this John of Gaunt, why was he born on March 6th, the 66th day of the year with 299 left? And why is Hillary Clinton, who is also related to John Gaunt and Trump, why was she born on the 299th day of the year with 66 remaining? And lastly, why is Donald Trump born on the 166th day of the year with 199 remaining, the same Donald Trump that's related to Hillary and John Gaunt? And last but not least, why is John Gaunt's name and a peculiar fictitious cough mentioned in this book, The Adventures of John Gaunt, Duke of Lancaster, the same John Gaunt that is related to the Hillary Clinton with some kind of fictitious cough, who was born on these 6699 synchronistic dates that are shared with Trump and John Gaunt? A book that was written in 1700s, right around the time that John Gaunt lived. A fictitious cough, when seasonably introduced, contributes to render one both interesting and venerable, and is, as it were, an indication of steady thoughts. And last but not least, why is John Gaunt's name mentioned in this study about tuberculosis? The UK government has begun to respond to the renewed threat of tuberculosis. The report I'm waiting for is its contribution to the study of tuberculosis internationally. Just as no man is an island sufficient of himself, so no island is an island in infectious terms. Protective moat we are ringed with against infection in the land and the hand of war, so eloquently described by John of Gaunt in Richard II, offers no defense against tuberculosis. Take care and be safe, you guys.
So the whole, back in 2025 here, the whole story was the Duke of York, which of course is Trump, them stealing our breath, and all this would happen 2 years later with COVID. They even talk about venom. It's all there. Now let's go to the next video. This brings us to the first Trump election. Of course, he wiped the floor with Hillary. And so now we're into this next 5-minute video. If you're just tuning in, we are going back to every single 5-minute video that we did on Trump, going back before even the first election. And so that you can see how we predicted everything that was going to happen before it happened. Let's keep watching here. Next video. This one's called The Camel, Trump and the Eye of the Needle. So we were talking about needles before the vaccine ever hit the market, before COVID ever even happened. Well, let's watch. Now, in this instance, I was in Dallas, Texas, driving through the Calatrava Bridge, which is the eye of a needle, which opened on my birthday, the 88th day of the year. Watch. Now, this is called the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge, HH88. Then I put the verse. Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And we're going to turn the sound off because it's just a soundtrack, so you guys don't have to endure my early editing skills as I drove through the eye of the needle in Dallas, Texas. There you see the X building in the distance. And of course, everything's X now, isn't it? IXXI building. That's 9/11. Here's some more information on the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. She actually died on Trump's birthday in 2007. The Kissing Camels Club is what she started. So they named the bridge after a woman in the Kissing Camels Club, knowing that it was about the eye of the needle and camels passing through it. Some pretty deep occult stuff going on, right? Now, at this point, Trump is still only a candidate for the presidency, his first presidency. Wow. Let's keep going. Here's some more images of the eye of the needle. There are some moon shots, phases of the moon over the eye of the needle. Of course, there's the sun. So there's Artemis and Apollo. Wow. I'm just narrating this because it's just a soundtrack in the background. There are some images of the bridge there from Google Earth. All right, now let's go back to this next video. Now, what I'm showing you here is how Donald Trump fits into even the Democratic Party and these connections. It could have been either one that won, right? But in this article, it's a town hall meeting, and now, there's no video of this, but the Politico reported that Trump was talking about passing through the eye of the needle as a camel. This was on Hillary Clinton's birthday that this article came out. Allegedly, he's talking to Matt Lauer at a town hall meeting, and Matt Lauer asks him how he's going to get to heaven as a rich man. And Trump says that he spent $500 million doing microscopic camel studies. And of course, camels are the vector for SARS, we later found out. Next video, Hillary Clinton, her birthday appears in Back to the Future. So there's another connection to Trump. Let's go to this next video. Get our sound back on. This video is from 8 years ago, just before the election, the first election in 2016.
Hey guys, enter the stars. Make sure
We don't do that anymore. Erased all that off the channel. That was an early sponsor, but we got off the
and
sponsors.
October 20 of Hillary Clinton
Okay, here we go.
is a peculiar date because it is the birthday of Hillary Clinton. But it is also the date in the opening of Back to the Future Part 2 that came out in 1989. A Robert Zemeckis film. Here's the intro of the film, Back to the Future Part 2. And it opens with Saturday, October 26th. Again, Hillary Clinton's birthday in 1985. Now, she was 38 years old in 1985. And there's a peculiar synchronicity because Christopher Lloyd was born in 1938. So here we have Doc Brown and Hillary Clinton in this weird synchronicity. Now this is the opening of the film, and of course those are KC headlights on the top of that Toyota. I've got another video on that. Now the first person that Marty sees when he returns to Hillary Clinton's birthday in 1985 is Strickland. I believe it was his, the principal of the school, played by Tolkien. He then sees Red the bum and then Biff's Pleasure Tower. 1985 was 31 years ago, and Tolkien, who played Strickland, was born in 1931. So again, we have another synchronicity mirror. Now this is the Trump Tower, the Biff Tower. F is the sixth letter of the alphabet. Biff is 66, and you see that at the top of the Trump Tower. And Red the bum would die in real life at 66 years old on the 169th day of the year with 196 remaining. It just so happens that Trump was born on the 166th day with 199 remaining. And there you see the 66 at the top of the Trump Tower. Now, Biff is Trump, which is why Trump keeps talking about rule of law and law and order. And here you see the soldiers walking about, and this is martial law. You see a tank as they pan around. And these are the images that we see as we look at the Pleasure Tower, the Trump Pleasure Tower of Biff. And this goes on as Marty's looking around. We see soldiers. We see tanks. Now, this is bizarre because there's a lot more to this scene. So here it is. Here is Pleasure Paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Biff Tannen Museum. They show the museum. There's the comb over. Donald Trump learned how Biff parlayed that lucky winning streak. And you look here and it looks like Ditko, which is Ditka, even because the BIFF is cut off at the top. Discover how in 1979 Biff successfully lobbied to legalize gambling. Now, what's this about? In Turnhill Valley's dilapidated courthouse in a beautiful casino hotel.
Now, Trump did, back in 2025, Trump did go on to legalize gambling, just like Biff did in Back to the Future. Sports gambling was legalized under Trump's first term, ruining the lives of millions of Christian men who now are addicted to sports betting and gambling. You can look that up for yourself when Trump signed that during his first term. And of course, we now have a militarized border with Trump. So all of this has come to pass. We are not just throwing darts at a board. Okay. This is all real. Now let me check in with you guys. If you're just tuning in, we're going back in history to our very first videos on Trump and showing you how what we said was going to happen actually has happened. This is powerful because it helps you to understand that we're over the target. I know there are some sound issues when I speak, but hopefully the sound is coming through loud and clear when I play back these videos. Let's go back to 2016 and keep going with this.
Mike Ditka did appear to support Trump. So maybe this was a foreshadowing. And of course, Mike Ditka had gambling issues with the NFL. Now this goes further because you saw the number 1979, and Pence, which is Trump's running mate, was born on 6/7. So we have 7967. Now with all these 69s going on, we see how 79 could be 6/7, the birthday of Pence, Trump's running mate. So it's almost as if they were foreshadowing all this to come. We had the death of Red the Bum in 66. Here's some more scenes showing the similarities and the likeness of Biff to Trump. And he actually watches a film called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly while he's sitting in a hot tub. And that film came out in 1966 as well. Remember,
Whoa.
Red the Bum died at 66 years old. So it was like they were foreshadowing this. Now this goes on. We see more likeness of Trump. Here's the wife, the rich wife. Of course, Trump has his rich wives that he's paraded around throughout the years. Marty then goes and he sees his father's gravestone, George McFly, March 15, 1973. Now this is interesting because when you convert this to the Gregorian calendar, it's March 28th, and in a leap year, that's March 29th, the 88th day of the year. And we know that the DeLorean has to get up to 88 miles an hour to jump through time. April 1st is when he was born. And I've told you guys in the past that Christ was crucified on March 29th and he was resurrected on April 1st. So all of this is apparent in this scene here.
Now I'm interrupting again, 2025 again. We're back in 2025. April 1st is when the tariffs were supposed to go into effect, weren't they? And Trump said, well, let's delay this a couple days because I want everyone to be serious about these tariffs. And here we are now, weeks later, and all of a sudden the tariffs are getting pulled off the table and Trump's backpedaling on these tariffs to China. So it was an April Fool's joke, wasn't it? Let's keep watching here. Back to 2016.
Now, it says here, Biff made his first million on March 28th, the day George died in the alternate calendar that we just reviewed, betting on a horse race because he got Sports Almanac from the future. Here's the newspaper that shows March 28th. So this confirms the calendar conversion that we just did that happened in the earlier scene. It confirms it because this is the number that we converted from the other calendar, right? March 28th, it says it right here on the newspaper. Now, March 29th in the leap year, we're seeing here, in 1973, the year I was born, was when the last troops pulled out of Vietnam. And in this newspaper, another newspaper that Doc Brown holds up, he talks about Nixon voting to end Vietnam by 1985. Except Vietnam didn't end in 1985. It actually ended in 1973 on March 29th, the 88th day of the year, when the exact day that I was born. So we have some very peculiar 88 synchronicities here. Reflective synchronicities is what I'm starting to call them. Here we see the day ends October 27th. And last but not least, the film released on November 22nd, 1989, the exact day that JFK was shot in Dallas, Texas, and killed.
So this is some early assassination attempt predictive programming, right? This was before Trump even won the first presidency, you guys. We were referencing JFK.
His Roman birthday is, his Gregorian birthday is May 29th. When you convert that to another calendar, the third month in the Roman calendar is March 29th, is when he was born.
Now, this next video is a post office that Trump opened on Hillary Clinton's birthday. Watch.
Very interesting, you guys. Take care and be safe.
see, turn the sound off on that. Here's Trump announcing post office looks like Ivanka's pregnant. And Wednesday morning, Donald Trump appeared at an unusual hybrid event on October 26th, Hillary Clinton's birthday. And she is 69 years old. So there's that number again, yin and yang. Let's see what else we have here. See the date on this. This was before the election, for the 2016 election. Delivered the hotel's presidential ballroom is where he delivered it. So basically he was foreshadowing his own presidency. We looked at this presidential ballroom and it looked like a Sphinx layout inside of this post office that Trump purchased. There you can see it from the aerial view. Looks like a Sphinx inside. There's a side-by-side of the Sphinx. So that was pretty much it on that video. Let's go to the next one. The mini 88s of the Trump Taj Mahal. You're not going to believe this. Oh, there's checkerboard floors. All right. The 88s of the Taj Mahal. This is after the election of 2016, November 5th.
Hey guys, enter the stars. And if you don't think that these people play by the numbers, then you have your head in the sand. January 27th, Barack Obama will be visiting the 27th North Latitude, the Taj Mahal. Now, why is this important? The Taj Mahal has a layout that contains 8s. This is the Ganji Bazaar. It is a living quarters and area to service the people in the Taj Mahal. And what better reference to place the 88 of being locked in sin than the working people who service the royalty? Here we see octagon, octagon, and another hidden octagon here for the 888. And the king of eights here in the front garden here, showing the actual leadership over and dominion over the working people, the sheep. Now, it doesn't stop there. If you're in denial about seeing these 8s, there is a Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, the Trump Taj Mahal, and it carried over floors from the previous one, and so they numbered the floors, and there is an 88th floor. And the nail in the coffin, confirming the 88 reference to the Taj Mahal in India versus the 88 and the president, is that the chairman's tower is on the top floor of the Taj Mahal. At least it appears to be. I couldn't find any definitive information. It is suspiciously hidden on the internet, and it's on the 88th floor of the chairman's tower, and it says here on the website for the Taj Mahal that this chairman's tower has a 480-foot view over Atlantic City, which tells me that it's at the top, and you probably pay premium for those towers. If anyone could confirm that or deny it, who is from...
All right, we're going to skip to the next one. Trump preordained iPetGoat 2 in the graffiti on the wall. Let's take a look at this one. Now, this is post-election 2016. Probably close to 2017 early. Let's take a look here. Yes, this is just after the election in 2016. And here I'm showing you the letters that appear in the graffiti that appear to show Donald. All right, next one. The biker meat wall surrounds Trump in Back to the Future. There's the dunce cap.
Hey guys, enter the stars and click on the link in the description for the full-length video about the wall of meat that the Bikers for Trump will be surrounding the inauguration event with. This is unbelievable. What we have here is a very clear connection to Biff Tannen from Back to the Future 2. We have Russia connections. We have JFK connections in this film, and we have White House connections. Full-length video in the description as I slow the scene down at 25% speed, and we find additional clues that pertain to the inauguration tomorrow. Take care and be safe, you guys.
As you can see, I've got a side-by-side of the White House and the clock tower in Back to the Future, which look almost identical. One has 4 columns. They both have 4 columns. Wow. And so it's almost identical. That's pretty chilling, right? This is from Back to the Future on the left and the White House on the right. Now later, we didn't know this at the time, but later we found out that the makers of Back to the Future literally fashioned Biff after Trump. They admit it publicly. Let's go to the next one. Trump, were we fooled? See his Fool Me Twitter post. Let's take a look. This is a Star Trek episode. Trump was 21 years old when it aired on December 1st, 67.
Scotty, if it should turn out to be real, there's an old saying on Earth, Mr. Sulu. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
I know this saying. It was invented in Russia.
Wow.
Fool me once, fool me once, fool me once. Shame on, shame on. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you.
I know this saying. It was invented in Russia.
Chekhov was born on 9/14. Trump was born on 6/14.
Fool me once, fool me once, fool me once. Shame on, shame on. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you.
And this is a book, 2010 book, Friday's Child mentions Bush.
Enter the stars, and what you just saw was a clip from Star Trek 1967, an episode called Friday's Child. And what was this episode all about? This episode was about a bunch of 7 feet tall men on a planet. And you heard him say, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. The words of George Bush that we saw in Decode. Now, what does this episode from Star Trek 1967 have to do with today? What is up with these 7 feet high humanoids that we see right here? There is something to this, and I'm going to explain it to you. Friday's Child, this is the episode. And this was on 12/1/1967. And when you take 12/1 backwards, it's 1/21. The very first day, full day, of Trump as president. 1/21, January 21st, is the opposite of 12/1. Now, this goes deep because this episode was based off of Monday's Child, the name of this episode, as it states in here, based off of Monday's Child. Now, what is Monday's Child? And this is where things get very interesting. Monday's Child was a nursery rhyme, and it was some type of fortune-telling nursery rhyme in which they foreshadowed a child's disposition based on the day of the week that they were born. Now, there was some role reversals because Friday, it says here, Friday's Child was also associated with Wednesday's Child. Wednesday happened to be the day where the child is full of woe. The other days seem to be positive days that the child was born. But when you look down here, it says that Wednesday and Friday's Child were role reversals, and that Friday's Child is full of woe, just like Wednesday's Child. So I looked into the word Friday, and I found that Friday came from the etymology of fridge or Frigg, the Roman goddess Venus, and that the goddess Frigg was the wife of Odin. Odin is Wednesday. Odin's day. Woden's day. So now you understand why Wednesday and Friday are related. Friday is Frigg, the wife of Odin, who is Wednesday, Woden's day. Right here in Wikipedia. And this is why Friday's Child and Wednesday's Child are interchangeable, according to the original poem. So what does all this have to do with Trump? Well, Trump was born on a Friday, June 14th, 1946. He also became president on a Friday. And on the next day, he was 70 years old, 70 weeks and 70 days. Now you know what the 7-foot tall people of Friday's Child episode in Star Trek was all about. Trump is a very tall president. In fact, there were only 2 other presidents that were as tall or taller than him. Lyndon B. Johnson and Abraham Lincoln. He is the third tallest president. And now you know what the 7-foot people in the Star Trek episode Friday's Child means. And now you know what 121 backwards means. The first full day of his presidency. Now you know who Friday's Child is. And now you know what it means to fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame on you.
Now, this next video is a parody that I did. Trump exposing chemtrails. It's not really him talking. It's actually me talking. Let's take a look.
Take care and be safe, you guys.
There's an old saying on Earth, Mr. Sulu. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
I know this saying. It was invented in Russia.
Over cloud seeding. The big plane removes the sun. It's suicide. On purpose. And what are we gonna do now? The way this works now is stupid. It's because Gore sucks. That park was safe for after the plane dropped it. And it was my fault. When it's raining, okay? Hee ha. The boy without a patsy. I tell you, what do they say? I got some more coming for you.
Wow. Rest is history, right? Chemtrails never stopped. Now, here's one that says 2016 Trump video doesn't sound so crazy.
Hey guys, enter the stars. And before we get started tonight, I want to remind you of Real Talk Live in about 30.
So this is just a re-upload of the other one about the number 66 and Trump. Here's a Trump Lex Luthor connection. Now, these videos are well into 2017. Let's take a look at this next one here. Yes, 2017.
I've decided to assume control of the company.
Apollo, Trump's 66 little penthouse.
My first official act, of course, is to say, "You're fired! You're fired! You're fired!"
And of course, Gene Hackman died under the Trump second presidency. That's Gene Hackman saying, "You're fired," in a Superman movie. Let's get the exact date on this video upload that we did. This was July 16th, 2018 is when this happened. Let's keep watching here. The title is Bizarre Trump Lex Luthor, Undeniable Connections and the Implications.
You're fired! You're mad!
Trump's penthouse, Apollo. Superman fights Nuclear Man at the Apollo moon landing site. It's Nuclear Man. They're fighting on the moon. So Apollo and Artemis.
If you want a reference for work, forget it!
The Apprentice, you're fired.
If you want a reference for work, forget it! With my brains and your brawn, the possibilities are absolutely staggering. You know, I could be president, emperor, and king. I could be president, emperor, and king. I could be president. I could be president. I could be president.
Enter the stars and welcome to the Matrix. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know if these people are duplicating what is played out in the media. We know the people that run Hollywood, and we know the ties that Trump has to those people. And here I've just shown you irrefutable evidence that seem to suggest that Trump is taking on the personality of this character, Lex Luthor. Now, this goes even deeper. This entire movie, Superman 4, that came out in 1987, was all about weapons of, and we can't even say the word on YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. And Superman basically goes through and takes away all the nuclear stuff. This was all going on with the Cold War. Russia was involved. Lex Luthor actually teams up with a Russian. And this Russian, the person that played him, Stanley Labor, just happened to die on the same date that JFK was assassinated.
So wow, this is just creepy, isn't it? Back in 2025 here. Of course, they're saying that Gene Hackman's wife died of hantavirus, a pulmonary disorder. So this is all foreshadowings of the COVID pandemic that hadn't even happened yet. And Gene Hackman, hacking is like coughing. And then, of course, the JFK connection again. So I know a lot of people, thought Trump would be assassinated, but I don't think anyone thought before he ever even won the presidency that there would be a quote unquote attempt on his life. So this was early work, you guys. Let's keep watching.
We had another character, the daughter of Warfield, which was the guy who took over the newspaper. The daughter, she was born on the date that JFK was assassinated. And finally, Warfield, the father of the woman who, and this is the guy who took over the newspaper, the Daily Planet, he has the same birthday as Donald Trump. So what ends up happening in this film? Well, in the film, Warfield, which think about what his name really represents, Warfield, right? War in the field. He loved all of this war mongering and war talk because it sold newspapers. And Lex Luthor wanted to profit off of war. That was his goal. This is why he wanted to create chaos by creating this nuclear man, which is Apollo. And I showed you how Trump's 66th floor apartment penthouse has the Apollo motif and the Apollo painting. Now, either we have stumbled upon some very deep spiritual things hiding just beneath the surface of this reality, or there is a concerted and very real effort to employ dark sorcery on all of us. And these people are players in all of it. Either way, this is information that the world needs to see. Take care and be safe, you guys.
Next, Trump almost owned the Twin Towers at 33 years old. And this next video looks like it uploaded in like 2018. Let's go to the next one, you guys. We're going to watch a few more and then we'll end the show. This was September 2018.
This is Donald Trump, 33 years old. And some people think that he wants to buy the World Trade Center, the 110-story Manhattan skyscraper. Donald Trump, as I say, is just 33 years old. You were recently the object of a lot of controversy because you ordered destroyed some sculptures on a building that you bought that the Metropolitan Art Museum wanted.
So these are essentially two Art Deco, or an Art Deco building that Trump had destroyed, and there was some art. People were really upset about this. 11-story Art Deco building. It has 9 windows across. So it's almost as if it was 9/11. 9 windows across, 2 images, 2 Art Deco images.
Why did you have those destroyed, first of all, and what happens to the look of a city?
Well, what we had is we purchased a site with an old department store on it, the old Bonwit Teller store, and we had to really take the building down. And there were many people that didn't want us to take it down. They wanted to try and preserve the building.
Pull it, Larry Silverstein, of course. Focus when he wants to be. Silverstein noting
the building really was not.
Noting he has known Trump for more than 30 years. Let's keep watching.
But the building really was not worth, as an art building or an Art Deco building, it really was not worth very much. And we did take it down, and there was somewhat of an outcry.
But couldn't you have saved just those sculptures that you had broken?
Well, it would have been very, very dangerous to have saved them. They weighed 2 tons, they were 15 feet high, they were about 2.5 feet thick. they would have fallen, they could have fallen the opposite way. If they fall into the building, you don't worry. If they fall out toward Fifth Avenue, people could have been very badly hurt and killed, and it just, to me, it was not worth it.
Instead, they fell into their own footprint, just like the Twin Towers. Goddess dancing in the winds. Here are some of the artists' other works that created those Art Deco. There's Jesus on the cross. Yale Library.
And they've really proven not to be very valuable art structures right now, and we've had appraisals done.
Mr. Trump, what's left in your life? You're 33 years old. You're worth all this money. You say you didn't say that you want to be worth $1 billion.
No,
What a lot of people don't know is that Trump bid on the World Trade Center 20 years before Silverstein won the bid. And this is why he will never investigate the one conspiracy that matters. 11/16/1981, Trump, acting as an agent for Prudential Insurance, put in a $1.2 billion bid for the purchase of the World Slave Center, 20 years before Silverstein won his bid for the lease purchase, just months before the event would happen. You see, it's common for insurance companies to anchor your premiums that you pay into insurance in real estate. It's supposed to be wise financial investing. Now, that trend probably isn't so much so now, but in the 80s and 90s, this was a safe investment. So we understand how Silverstein benefited financially from his investment in the World Slave Center. Did Trump know something? Trump admits to being good friends with Larry Silverstein. They were also competing New York real estate moguls. They probably had many interactions over the 30 years that Silverstein says that they knew each other. Now, the Trump bid for the WTC was just after the demolition a year earlier of twin Art Deco reliefs on the facade of a different building called the Bonwit Teller Building.
Now I'm interrupting myself because it's 9 windows across and 11 stories tall. 9/11. Let's keep watching here.
Here's an article from September 25th, 2001, CNN Money. And Prudential ended up paying out millions and possibly billions in claims after the event. Prudential lost, Silverstein won. It seems, looking back in history with hindsight, that many people had their hands on the Slim Towers and wanted to own them. In fact, it was always Trump's dream to own the Slim Towers. What does all that mean for today? Does it mean that he had foreknowledge of the event? Well, many have accused Silverstein of having foreknowledge. And if you're going to accuse Silverstein of having foreknowledge for cashing out on the insurance policy, then you got to take a hard look at Trump as well. Take care and be safe, you guys.
Couldn't you have saved just those sculptures that you had broken?
well, it would have been very dangerous to have saved them. They weighed 2 tons. They were 15 feet high. They were about 2.5 feet thick. If they would have fallen, and they could have fallen the opposite way. If they fall into the building, you don't worry. If they fall out toward Fifth Avenue, people could have been very badly hurt and killed. And it just, to me, it was not worth it.
So we're going to go ahead and stop there. Sorry for the sound problems, you guys. Did the sound ever get better with me chiming in and some of these? This is a very important show, you guys, because it shows the foreknowledge. So I hope that more people tune in to shows like this to see the progression of the information. This is one of the most important shows that we're going to do because it shows that we're not just shooting in the dark. Everything is scripted. And I pretty much went straight through. I didn't really skip too many of those videos. So you got to see how it all unfolded as we were seeing it unfold in early 2016 and through the first election. Tomorrow we'll finish up. There's about 10 or 15 more videos that'll bring us into the present. And so we'll finish up those shorts tomorrow. And let's let this chat catch up, and then we'll figure out if my sound ever fixed itself, or if you guys just had to suffer through that for the last hour. Oh boy. See, this is the truth about what it really takes to run a YouTube channel. Most people will understand you've got sound issues, technical issues. This is just what happens. Okay. When you see a well-produced channel with never any mistakes, you've got to ask yourself some hard questions. So now it makes sense. Yes, it's all making sense now, isn't it? It's all scripted. I showed you that. A little bit choppy, but fine. Almost perfect. Still has short interruptions. Okay, thank you. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream then, since the sound never really did kick off. And please share this video. I'll try to maybe edit parts of the video out so that it'll streamline better and play better for those of you share it with. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Much love.